Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Today we will talk about archaebacteria. First of all, the word archaebacteria. The word archaebacteria is derived from the Greek word archaeos, which means ancient. And by the term, you can say that, or it is quite clear that these are the most primitive organisms that lived on the surface of Earth. Archaebacteria are quite diverse in terms of both morphology and physiology. They show variable morphology and physiology. Okay, and now their distribution. You can find them in marshy areas, and archaebacteria living in marshy areas, they are known as methanogens. Hypersaline areas, they are known as halophilus, that means salt loving archaebacteria. And high temperature environments like hot water springs. And these organisms living in hot water springs, they are known as thermoacidophiles. They are known as thermoacidophiles. Reason ये है, in hot water springs there is also high acidity. Thermoacidophiles, high temperature loving and high acidity loving archaebacteria. A few archaebacteria can be found in the digestive tracts of animals. You can find them in the ruminants of cows, buffaloes. Okay, ruminants like cows and buffaloes. Those animals possessing rumen in their stomach. Now their response to gram staining. They can be either gram positive or gram negative, depending upon the cell wall structure. Okay, depending upon the cell wall structure of archaebacteria, they can be either gram positive or gram negative. Now their shape, they may be spherical, rod shaped, spiral, lobed, plate shaped, irregularly shaped, or sometimes you can find them they are polymorphic. Polymorphic means they are capable of changing their shape. Some archaebacteria live as single cells, while others form filaments or aggregates. Okay, now their size, they range in diameter from 0.1 to 15 micrometer, and some filaments can grow up to 200 micrometer in length. Now you can clearly say that in terms of size they are quite diverse. Okay, now their physiology. Archaebacteria are physiologically also diverse. Okay, for example, they can be aerobic. That means they can be present only in aerobic conditions where oxygen is available. They can be facultatively anaerobic. It means they can be able to live in both aerobic as well as anaerobic conditions, and they can be strictly anaerobic. Strictly anaerobic means those archaebacteria which are exclusively able to survive only in oxygen less environments. Okay, now their nutrition. Nutritionally, they can be either chemolithoautotrophs or organotrophs. Chemolithoautotrophs means those archaebacteria which are able to obtain the energy, obtain the electrons by uh, doing the oxidation of some chemical compounds. And organotrophs means those archaebacteria which utilize organic compounds to obtain their energy, to obtain their electrons. Now, something about their temperature range, where they can live, up to which temperature they can exist. Majority of archaebacteria can be found in intermediate temperature conditions, but there are some exceptions. There are the archaebacteria known as hyperthermophiles. These hyperthermophiles can grow beyond 100 degrees Celsius. Here this slide, it represents some of the representatives of archaebacteria. This is Halococcus, then we have Methanospirillum, Sulfolobus, then we have Methanosarcina, and finally Methanobacterium. You can simply remember these examples. These are the representatives of archaebacteria. Now, all archaebacteria, they are capable of resisting the lysozyme and beta-lactam antibiotics such as penicillin. The beta-lactam antibiotics like penicillin, their target in the bacterial cell remains in cell walls. Okay, they specifically destruct the cell wall of the bacteria. But since the structure of cell wall in archaebacteria is different from the cell wall of bacteria, you cannot expect penicillin to kill the archaebacteria. Okay, because the structure of cell wall of archaebacteria is different from the cell wall of eubacteria. Okay, penicillin as such do not disturb the cell wall of archaebacteria. द केमिस्ट्री ऑफ आर्कीबैक्टीरियल सेल वॉल्स इज ऑल्सो क्वाइट डिफरेंट. मैंने आपको पहले ही बोला, ये जो सेल वॉल होता है आर्कीबैक्टीरिया का, इट इज़ डिफरेंट फ्रॉम दैट ऑफ द बैक्टीरिया. ओके, इट इज़ composed of pseudomurian, while as in case of bacteria, eubacteria, we have murian, okay, or peptidoglycan. Polysaccharides, glycoproteins, and some other proteins may also be present. Okay, so far none of the muramic acid, none of the archaebacteria have been found to possess muramic acid and D amino acids, which is characteristic of bacterial peptidoglycan. अगर हम bacterial peptidoglycan की बात करेंगे, वो बना होता है, मतलब जिसको हम बोलते हैं सिंपली म्यूरामिक एसिड. ओके, it is constituted of N-acetyl glucosamine and N-acetyl muramic acid, and it also possesses the T amino acids. Okay, archaebacterial cell walls do not contain peptidoglycan. It does not contain a peptidoglycan, or you can say it does not contain muramic acid. Okay, and its structure is quite different from the cell walls of eubacteria. For example, we can see gram-positive archaea have a variety of complex polymers in their walls. For example, Methanobacterium and some other methanogens have cell walls containing pseudomurian. Pseudomurian is nothing but a peptidoglycan-like polymer that has L amino acids in its cross links. Okay, जो pseudomurian है या pseudopeptidoglycan है, it is like a polymer. It resembles peptidoglycan, but you have to remember that this polymer, it does not contain L amino acids. Okay, it does not contain L amino acids in its cross links, while as in case of peptidoglycan you will have L amino acids in the cross links. Okay, furthermore, you have N-acetyl talosaminurenic acid instead of N-acetyl muramic acid. अगर हम बैक्टीरियल सेल वॉल की बात करेंगे, वहाँ पे N-acetyl muramic acid होता है, यहाँ पे N-acetyl talosaminurenic acid होता है. Okay, and one more difference is there is beta 1,3 glycosidic linkage instead of beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. These are some of the differences. Okay, these are some of the differences. The first one is you don't have L amino acids in the cross links. Second is we have N-acetyl talosaminurenic acid instead of N-acetyl muramic acid. And third one is in archaebacterial cell wall there is beta 1,3 glycosidic linkage instead of beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Okay, Methanosarcina and Holococcus lack pseudomurian and contain complex polysaccharides similar to chondroitin sulfate of animal connective tissue. One more exception is in Methanosarcina and Holococcus, there is no pseudomurian like other archaebacteria. Okay, instead they contain complex polysaccharides which resemble in structure to chondroitin sulfate found in animal connective tissue. Here you can see this is the structure of pseudomurian or pseudopeptidoglycan. Here these are the amino acids, and these amino acids does not contain the L amino acids, instead they are D amino acids. Okay, and you can here see you have here N-acetyl glucosamine, and this represents N-acetyl talosaminurenic acid instead of N-acetyl muramic acid. Okay, this is the cross linking, and in the cross linking you will not find L amino acids. Okay. One more difference lies in the membrane lipids. In the membrane lipids of archaebacteria, here you can see this is there is ether bond. Okay, there is ether bond between the glycerol and long chain fatty acids, and these long chain fatty acids, they are branched. Okay, whereas in case of eukarya and bacteria, you will find there is ester linkage between fatty acids. These fatty acids are not branched. There is ester linkage here. This is ester linkage between the glycerol and fatty acids. Okay, These lipids are exclusively present in eukarya and bacteria, while as the lipids here containing ether linkage, they are present in case of archaebacteria. Okay, this is another difference. Gram negative archaea have a layer of protein or glycoprotein outside their plasma membrane. अगर आप ग्राम नेगेटिव आर्किबैक्टीरिया की बात करेंगे, they do not possess pseudomurine. Okay, instead they possess a layer of protein or glycoprotein outside their plasma membrane. Okay, some methanogens, example Methanolobus, Holobacterium, and several extreme thermophiles like Sulfolobus, Thermoproteus, and Pyrodictyum have glycoproteins in their walls. तो इन बैक्टीरिया में, इन आर्किबैक्टीरिया में, they possess glycoproteins in their walls. Okay. In contrast, other methanogens like Methanococcus, Methanomicrobium, and Methanogenium, and the extreme thermophile Disulfurococcus have proteins in their walls. Okay, this represents another exception. A most distinctive feature of the archaea is the nature of their membrane lipids that I have already talked about. They differ from both bacteria and eukaryotes in having branched chain hydrocarbons attached to glycerol by ether links rather than fatty acids connected to glycerol by ester links. मैंने आपको पहले ही बोला, this is the most distinguishing feature of archaea from both eukarya and bacteria. Okay, here I will explain it once again. We have here ether bond, okay, between the long chain branched fatty acids and the glycerol. These are exclusively present in archaebacteria. Okay, whereas in case of eukaryotes and bacteria, okay, you have long chain fatty acids, they are not branched, and this long chain fatty acid is connected, or you can say it is linked to the glycerol by ester linkage. Now some important points of difference. There are some important differences between the different groups of archaebacteria. First of all, we have three broad groups of archaebacteria: extreme holophiles, then we have methanogenic archaebacteria, then finally we have extremely thermophilic archaebacteria. Okay, the extreme holophiles are found in very high numbers in high salt environments such as salt lakes like Dead Sea, which is located between Israel and Jordan, and the Great Salt Lake in Utah and brines. Okay, salt brines means those water bodies, okay, having high salt concentration. Most extreme holophiles can grow well in saturated salt solution. They can grow in saturated salt solutions having 32% NaCl, sodium chloride, and they require a minimum of about 9% NaCl. These extreme holophiles, they require a minimum of 19% NaCl to survive. Extreme holophiles are aerobic or facultatively anaerobic heterotrophs. ये तो आपको पता ही है, what are aerobic or facultative anaerobes. These organisms have the light sensitive pigment called bacteriorhodopsin. These holophiles, they possess bacteriorhodopsin, okay, light sensitive pigment, which is known as bacteriorhodopsin. Now the examples under this category include Holococcus and Holobacterium. Now we'll move on to the next one, methanogenic archaebacteria. This is the largest group of archaebacteria found in marshy areas and guts of ruminants. They exclusively live in the marshy areas and guts of ruminants. They generate methane when they oxidize hydrogen gas as an energy source using carbon dioxide as a terminal electron acceptor. By using hydrogen gas and carbon dioxide, they generate methane. Okay, they are strictly anaerobic. chemoautotrophs. They are strictly anaerobic chemoautotrophs. That means they obtain their energy, they manufacture their organic compounds by oxidizing the chemical compounds. Strictly anaerobic chemoautotrophs. And the examples are Methanobacterium, then we have Methanococcus, Methanomicrobium, and Methanosarcina. And finally, extremely thermophilic archaebacteria. These are obligately thermophilic bacteria which can live in a temperature range between 70 to 110 degrees Celsius. Okay, that means their optimum growth occurs in temperature lying between 70 to 110 degrees Celsius. They are usually strict anaerobes but may be aerobic or facultatively anaerobic. Okay, that means most of these thermophilic archaebacteria, they are anaerobes, but they can be aerobic or facultatively aerobic. Sorry. These extreme thermophiles, they are also either acidophiles or neutrophiles. Okay, that means besides growing at high temperatures, they have the capability to either grow at high acidity or they can grow in neutral environments or environments having neutral pH, neutrophiles. Okay, that means besides growing in high temperatures, high temperature environments, they can either they can also grow in environments having high acidity or neutral pH. They can be autotrophic or heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means they are consuming the organic food. They do not manufacture their own organic food. Okay, they instead get it from some other organisms. Most are sulfur metabolizers, and most of the thermophiles, they are sulfur metabolizers. They reduce sulfur to H2S. They reduce sulfur to hydrogen sulfide anaerobically. याद रखना, anaerobically. And they are also capable of reducing H2S or they are also capable to oxidize H2S or simply sulfur to H2SO4. I will repeat these things. The thermophiles, they are autotrophic or heterotrophic, and most of these thermophiles are sulfur metabolizers. They reduce sulfur to H2S anaerobically. And other archaebacteria, they are capable of oxidizing H2S or sulfur to H2SO4 aerobically. याद रखना. They reduce sulfur to H2S anaerobically in absence of oxygen, while as they are also capable of oxidizing hydrogen sulfide or simply elemental sulfur to H2SO4 aerobically. And the examples in this category are Thermococcus, Sulfolobus, Pyrodictyum, Disulphirococcus, Thermoproteus, and Pyrococcus. So this is all about the archaebacteria, and we have talked about some of the details of it is the 3 different groups. Okay, I hope you all understand this. See you soon with a new lesson. Till then, stay blessed and thank you.